So just before Moto 2, something really weird happened. A cold front came through and it cooled down to like 60 degrees. Just kidding. It's still hot, but we're still racing. So Moto 2 is a green-white checkered race. So this first lap's going to be a green flag lap. Then at the end of the lap, we'll see the white flag. And then at the end of the second lap, it's the end of the race. Um, so yeah, they asked us if we wanted to do 2 or 3 laps for Moto 2. Most of us didn't really care, but it was just such a long and hot day that we ended up going with 2 laps. So, with that being said, we're gonna show the entire race here. We're not gonna cut the video or anything, because if I cut the video, then this is gonna be like a 2 or 3 minute video. But this moto is a lot more interesting than the first moto. I can promise you that. Yellow flag's out, so a guy goes down here. That guy's in the 30 plus C class. I never really got his name, but I was talking to him in the beginning of the first moto, and he seemed really nice, and yeah, we had a good conversation. But on to the race here. This guy in front of me, his name's Stefan. So he's in the 30 plus class, but we have a good all moto battle. So we're going on this jump here, and I give it just a little bit more, which allows me to get around him. But right here, I lock up my brakes. I was full on the rear and front brakes and blew that corner a little bit. Stefan thought I was letting him around me. We talked after the race, but no, I'm not that nice, especially in GPs. Unless someone's like painfully obviously faster than you, you really shouldn't let them around you. Just because, look at this. This trail is wide. A faster person can easily get around someone. So, anyways, yeah, I didn't purposefully let Stefan around me. Um, just locked up the brakes. So I'm trying to just hang with him here and doing a somewhat decent job. Trying to keep a good rhythm, not make mistakes, and that's a big thing. But yeah, I mean, just let's just appreciate this trail because it flows so good. I talked about it in the last video too. It was a nice, fast, open trail, and that's what I like. So in this section here, I have my bike in second gear, and you can kind of hear me lugging it, which probably lugging a little bit too much. Maybe should have been in first gear, but sometimes you're a little bit faster if you shift up a gear and just lug rather than being on the gas the entire time in a lower gear, um, or higher gear. I don't know if you'd say higher or lower gear. Uh, I'll go with lower gear. Yeah, if I was in like first gear, then I might have suffered with some tire spin, which would have slowed me down. And like I said, right now I'm just trying to keep pace with Stefan and stay on his rear wheel. Do my normal strategy when I'm keeping up with someone. Usually I'm not all over them, trying to make dumb passes. Usually I just prowl behind him, kind of what I'm doing right now. Keep a somewhat respectable distance, not too far away where I'll lose him easy, but not close enough where if he crashes, then I'm gonna get held up. But stay a respectable distance behind them and wait for a mistake, because the mistakes, the crashes, that's where I make my passes. And that kind of rhymed. That's funny. I didn't even plan that one out. So yeah, nice job, Tate. That was a good rhyme for the week. But yeah, now we're in the really open wood section, but you have to be a little bit careful here because it was really easy for your back tire to slide out on you. Um, then yeah, you cross a divot or a bottom area, then go up a small incline into more open woods. And Stefan's getting away from me just a little bit, but not too much. But this section right here, I was decently fast, and so I'm kind of catching up to him. You can see here. Again, clicking up to second gear and just somewhat lugging through all of this stuff. So I lose my balance a little bit right here, which was, I was very frustrated with myself because I felt like I was getting in a groove enough to get close enough to Stefan to make a pass on the motocross track coming up here in a little bit. And yeah, you can hear right now just lugging it way too much. I definitely should have been in first gear in this section. But now GoPro doesn't really do justice, but that was a pretty steep downhill we just went down. And crossing the creek section, and there's a line to the right and a line to the left. So I take the line to the left, and there's a ton of roots and rocks and everything. The line to the right is a little bit more tame, but Stefan went to the right, so I figured I need to make different line choices and try and take some risks in order to set myself up for a pass. But I really slowed myself down, which sucks, and Stefan got away from me just a little bit. He's just now getting to the jump in the motocross track. You can see him there, and yeah, I don't know if I talked about this in Moto 1, but you may notice I'm not really jumping a whole lot this year. I'm kind of rolling everything. That's just because me starting my new job and everything, I need to be smart. I can't make a mistake jumping and show up to work in a cast and just all beat up. So, yeah, I'm just being a little bit, I don't know if smarter is the word, but a little bit more cautious on the jumps this year. I mean, some of these jumps I could easily clear, especially with all the practice I did last year, but I don't know. I just don't really want to risk it, and maybe that attitude will change or that mindset will change later this season or even next year. But right now, I just can't risk it, and I'm sure you guys understand. So we're on to the last lap now, and as I said, I'm going easier on the motocross sections, but I'm still creeping up on Stefan just a little bit. Now, nothing crazy, nothing where I'd be able to make a pass by any means, as you can see, but still creeping up just enough. Now, I need to do something because it's the last lap, so I don't have a lot of time to make a pass. And you guys saw the last lap. These laps go quick. There's not a lot of time. So I know that this jump coming up right after this turn, I give it just a little bit more than Stefan does. So let's try and crank it here. Oh, and no. Unfortunately, I couldn't get on the gas fast enough. I was in too high of a gear there, so I couldn't get on the power band. But if I would have shifted down, I probably could have got around him there. And you could see he did the look behind to see where exactly I was. But yeah, we're pretty much in the exact same spot as where we were on the first lap in terms of distance from each other. So it's only the second lap here, but I'm getting tired now. I drank probably like 10 bottles of water and had another 5 Gatorades in between the two motos. So I was trying to stay hydrated. Now, with that being said, hydration starts a week before the actual event, which I tried my best during the week to stay hydrated, but sometimes you can't pass up a Diet Coke and stuff like that. So I could have probably done a little bit better hydrating, but regardless, I'm still getting tired from heat exhaustion. Um, Not to the point where I'm like about to pass out, but just to the point where I'm worn out and I'm not pushing as much as I was the first lap. So Stefan gets away from me just a little bit. So these open sections, I creep up on him a little bit. So um, really have to try and catch up to him because, yeah, I have even less time now than I did on the motocross section. Like, not a lot of time. It's really the seconds are ticking down, and you can see right in front of me the clouds. There's a storm rolling in, and you can hear the wind too. Um, so yeah, we were race 4 of 5, so the day was pretty much over, but we cut it pretty close to a big storm front that was coming in, and it actually ended up missing the track, but I drove right through it on my way home, and yeah, it almost took off my front number plate. All the bolts and everything are broken off, and yeah, now I'm gonna have to hold my front number plate on by a zip tie. So yeah, back on track. I get sidetracked so easy. It's been the same way for 3 years, getting sidetracked in videos. But you can see now Stefan's not really even in sight anymore. So he pulls away from me just a little bit. So you can't really see it well in the video, but I could see him right here. Um, or I could see him pulling into this wood spot. And like I said on the last lap, I'm a little bit faster than he was in this section. And you can see him taking this left turn. Um, so he's not like really far away from me, but he's probably a good 50 to 100 feet. So at this point, I know there's only 2 spots where I'll be able to make a pass on Stefan. Either the uphill where I've been choosing the rocky, ruddy line and Stefan's been choosing the smooth line to the right, or the motocross section. So I know I'm going to have to be smooth. I'm going to have to be fast and creative with my line choices coming up here in the closing turns for the lap. It's not really helping that I'm lugging so much right now too, but we're going on this downhill into the creek crossing. And here's my chance. Stefan's right there. So just trying to pin it, and I lose my balance a little bit. Stefan's up the hill, so I lost one opportunity for a pass right here. And I'm in first gear now, trying to catch up as much as I can so I can make the pass. And I hit a tree with my park buster, and I didn't really lose my balance or anything, but it slowed me down. And we can see how far ahead Stefan is, and he's at the jump. So I don't know why I'm not just fully on the gas right now, but I should have been. So closing turns here, doesn't look like I'm going to catch up to Stefan, but regardless, it was a hard fight and a fun fight. And if we would have done one more lap, I'm curious to know what the outcome would have been, because I know with this motocross section I would have caught up to him just a little bit, but what would have happened after that, who knows. So how'd I do? Well, I got 4th of 4. So it was a pretty strong 12 to 29 C class today, only being 4 riders, and from what I saw during the race, everyone was pretty well spread out. So if we take a look at the Excel sheet that I've been showing at the end of each race, we can see how I'm standing in the points now. And like I said, regardless of the finish, it was going to be a pretty solid points day. And yeah, with the class being so small, I can talk about each individual person. So Neil Johnson took the win, and it looks like he's just a day rider, but I'll have to confirm that when they update the points. Second place went to Kyle Smith. Then third place was Morgan Wheelwright, who is the points leader right now. And then I came away in fourth, giving me 11 points. And based on my sheet, that puts me in sixth out of the District 17 racers and 11th out of everyone overall who's raced GP so far this year. So, decent day for points, not the best day for results, but with a strong class, it was going to be difficult to um, place well. So, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next week at Fox Valley.